Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. I'm looking at the comments that are already going on YouTube. Yeah, there is. There's been a There's been a number of outages this morning because of and Cloudflare is looking into it. For instance, I was trying to get on my X account, and I was earlier this morning. I was working with Grok, which I usually do, and suddenly it just stopped responding, and then I couldn't get anything. And so I tried on my phone, having the same issue. I know some of you are talking about the Kello app, that you're having problems with the Kello app. I'm not having any problems with the Kello app. I received an email from someone earlier this morning. When I come to work, you know, I go into the studio, I'm taking transmitter readings. There are some housekeeping things that I need to do before I go on the air. So I was taking care of some of those things. I was in the studio, and then as I go downstairs, I listen to the Kello app on my phone as I go downstairs, and you know, I set up the printer and get it ready so that it's full of paper and it's ready to roll as I start printing stuff out each day. So I'm listening to the radio station, and I had absolutely no problem with the Kello app. I had received an email from Tim shortly after the program started this morning. He was having problems with the Kello app. I pulled out my phone right then, hit it again. I had absolutely no problems. So I think there are some ongoing internet issues that are out there that are affecting people, because my app was working every time I tried it this morning. So why the rest of you were encountering difficulties, I really don't know. I do want to remind you, anytime you run into those issues, there are a million different ways that you can listen to Kello. So keep that in mind. Radio's always there. You know, we're on AM, we're on FM. You can stream us at kello.com. So there's just a lot of different ways to listen to the program. I know the app's incredibly convenient. That's how I listen to the station most of the time as well. So I know you're having some difficulty. It's not us. It's not us. It's not the app. It's not us. So yeah, that's going on. Again, as I said, I was having problems with X this morning. You know, I was right in the middle of a conversation with X, you know, I use Grok, then the artificial intelligence. So, because it's a tremendous tool. I have used both ChatGPT, and now I've been using Grok, and I have about all but abandoned ChatGPT for Grok. I like the way, I just like the way it responds to me a lot more effectively, I think, than ChatGPT. It's just it's a better AI. That's my opinion. There are a number of others out there. Katie and I have talked about it as well. I know Claude is one of them. I don't know. Do you rely on AI at all? Again, I use it in context of my work much more than I use it in my personal life. So in the context of my work, I find it, especially as I'm out there and trying to find stories, you know, or I want to formulate questions, or I'm looking, you know, I can bring an issue to Grok and I can say, okay, what's the discussion regarding this? And in a heartbeat, I get, all this information. Okay, here are our talking points. Boom, 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 boom. And it's like, okay, yeah. And I ask it, is my sense right here about this? And it's absolutely, yeah, that's a big story this morning. Or I'll ask it, what are the top 5 stories in the United States right now, domestic United States? What are those stories? And it, in a heartbeat, and it's looking at stories that are on X. It's looking at media throughout. So for me, it is an incredibly valuable tool. And it's one I've just really become used to. And that's why this morning it's like, when you don't have it, you feel like you caught unawares. So a lot of folks are suffering those outages. And I notice as of right now, it looks like we're back up and running on X. And I was having problems with it earlier this morning. So hopefully they're getting a handle on some of those issues. And I appreciate your patience. Okay, there are a few stories that I wanted to share with you this morning. This is the person in charge of the security detail for Turning Point USA, and Charlie Kirk, says that he warned Utah Valley University police about access to a rooftop days before Kirk's assassination. And there was a podcaster that revealed this yesterday. And you know what happened to Charlie Kirk, how he was assassinated during this Turning Point USA event. And the again, I want to make sure I'm clear on who I'm quoting here for you. Sean Ryan is his name. And he said, we have some correspondence with the chief of the school that day, Monday, before Charlie was killed. Why this hadn't come out and why he won't stand up like a man and admit this, I don't know. But he's watching a bunch of men lose their careers. He said, on Monday, this correspondence went to Chief Long. Hello, Chief Long. We received this message today from the student group. There is a student roof access pretty close to where Charlie Kirk will set up at Utah Valley. And so they pointed this out. And he goes on to say he comes back. And so some of this is not going to matter much to you. He says, if this is true, it would be nice to either have controlled access or allow one of my guys to be there as well as possible. In other words, they wanted somebody on the rooftop. They wanted somebody up there. And if police are going to go up there, we want one of our people up there. So they were looking to have at least 2 people on that rooftop. And so this is pretty crazy. And he says that was the chief of police for the University Police Department. We've called him. He never called us back. So Utah Valley University did not immediately respond to a request for comment. And this is a story from Daily Caller. So that is incredible that they had pointed out, yeah, that rooftop, we're aware of it. And they brought it to the attention of the folks who were supposed to be in charge of security for the event, and apparently they did nothing. Now, wouldn't you think, I mean, just the thought that occurs to me, so I know it's occurred to you, wouldn't you think that following the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania against Donald Trump, where we saw that rooftops are an issue, and yeah, you kind of, the roof was too hot. You remember that? I'm still just like dumbfounded by that. The roof was too hot. We didn't want to be up on the roof. What? What? I mean, We're not talking about holding a picnic. We're talking about security for the president. That whole thing just still blows my mind. Same thing at the university. They brought up the issue of the rooftop. Yeah, nah. Now, again, we saw rooftops with that assassination attempt on Donald Trump playing such a critical role. Wouldn't you think, yeah, rooftop, you know what? We're glad you brought it up. That would be my reaction. I think that would be most people. Anybody who's responsible, I think that would be their reaction. It's pretty mind-blowing. All right, let's see what else I've got for you. Carolyn Leavitt, White House press secretary, sitting down with Miranda Devine. I talked about Miranda Devine a lot this morning. Excuse me, I'm going to take a quick drink here. All right, there we go. Miranda Devine sat down with Carolyn Leavitt. And New York Post is reporting on this. American people deserve answers about what drove Thomas Crooks to attempt to assassinate President Trump. Carolyn Leavitt says. So Carolyn Leavitt is very sensitive to this. And she said, these questions and it's the New York Post that's asking them. Once again, it's the New York Post that is asking the tough questions. I think they really are one of the best news publications in the country. And so Leavitt said those questions are definitely deserving of answers. I understand why the public wants those answers, and I believe the president does too. And she said it's a good question, and it's one I'd like to see the answer to, and I think all Americans would. So Leavitt is trying to be careful because she was asked some of these questions, and she's the White House press secretary. So when she speaks publicly, she's speaking for the president. And sometimes she's not comfortable doing that. And she said that. She's like, I don't want to speak for the president on this issue, because Devine is pressing her about, okay, the president said when he first became president, he wanted answers from the Secret Service. He detailed some people, okay, let's find out what it was that happened. And we have never heard anything since then. I mean, you and I are sitting there, okay, we got folks on it, and we're looking at our watches and we're waiting and nothing, And this is what Miranda Devine is saying. I appreciate the position that Carolyn Leavitt is in, because again, she really can't speak. When she speaks as if it's the president, and she's being very, very careful not to do that. So the New York Post says among the other unanswered questions, whether Crooks acted alone or did he have contact with agents of a foreign government, why the FBI never noticed or investigated Crooks' violent rhetoric online. I talked about that in detail on the program this morning. So if you missed any of that, just go to the Greg Belfrage Show podcast and you can pick it up there. Whether the FBI turned over all evidence that it had to congressional investigators, did FBI investigators find all of Crooks's online activity, or was some of it overlooked? So there are a number of questions that remain, and the Post says the FBI did not respond to a request for comment. I shared this on the air this morning, the New York Post editorial board, saying, why did the FBI either fail to track down major information about Thomas Crooks, or why did they fail to make it public? That shouldn't the Bureau have been aware of what Crooks was doing and the things that he was saying on social media prior to the assassination attempt on President Trump? Well, of course they should have been. Absolutely, they should have been. So if you want more information on this, go to the New York Post. Search the reporting of Miranda Devine, and you can find a lot more details there. She's really doing some, in my opinion, some terrific work along those lines. This was in, by the way, this morning, and I saw this as I was on the air this morning. I have Fox News Channel on, and we've got a large television screen, so we can keep track of news, weather when it's appropriate. And so I had Fox News Channel up, and I noticed you had members of Congress out in front of Capitol Hill this morning, and I see Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I went, oh, no. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So she was up there. This is all about the Epstein files, right? Okay, so the Epstein files, and the House is voting on this today and so on. And I'm just a believer that President Trump has said, hey, go ahead and release the files. Release the files, and let's just quit talking about this. That really this is a scandal for the Democrats. It's not Republicans. So let's just quit talking about this, and let's move forward with America's other problems. I mean, we got Jeffrey Epstein, who is, how many months has he been dead now? A lot of this, I just really have a hard time getting really fired up about it. I know some of you are. Every time I mention any Epstein on Facebook, and I don't know if those are actual listeners of the show or they're just Facebook folks. They're all on top of it, and I'm not there. I am not there. I mean, I think don't make no mistake, what Jeffrey Epstein did and was despicable and terrible and all of those things and shocking and all of that. So what is Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about at Capitol Hill? Donald Trump. Well, of course, she's talking about Trump. After she says, oh, it's a new, after Charlie Kirk's killing, oh, I'm a new person, and I got to quit all this. And now today she's right back at it again. And I'm like, that was predictable. That was very predictable, hardly surprising. So she's upset. I was called a traitor by the man that I fought for 6 years for. I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, you're a real hero. You're a real hero. I mean, give me a break. It's all about her. And and I've thought that for a long time. Because, and you see this, and this is my belief. This is my take. That she glommed onto Trump to elevate her own star. She was hoping to elevate her own, presence out there by using Trump to get there. And I believed that for a long time. And now with the way that she's reacting and you see it very, very clearly, it's all about Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's all about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, give me a break. We'll see what happens. So the House will be voting on that today. Rich Lowry's got a piece at the New York Post today, and I think it's a good one. The headline is, the Jeffrey Epstein scandal is no mystery, just a damning indictment of America's elites. And that's really what it boils down to. You have a lot of elites, Jeffrey Epstein, a lot of elites who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein, and that's really what's going on. And as to whether or not we actually get to the bottom of it, I mean, we're going to get to the bottom of Thomas Crooks and the Trump assassination. That's also a pretty big story. We're not getting a lot of details about that. I'm just think there are a lot of people. And in the case of Epstein, you've got a lot of powerful people, influential, powerful, rich people who would rather keep their secrets. And as to whether you and I will discover what's actually going on there, God only knows. I'm going to leave it there today. You have made it to the end of the video, so you are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those are the folks that are here each and every day. If you're not a YouTube subscriber, please become one. I would appreciate that so much. So until tomorrow, my friends, I'm underground and gone.